Okay, here we go. I'm trying to live stream with a web camera. I turned off a whole bunch of stuff that, uh, you know, it was like cutting me off. So I found this little web camera in a drawer. I think it's only like 720p. Um, for some reason, YouTube keeps on, or not, I don't think it's YouTube, I think it's ATT. I actually have narrowed it down to the speed. It's 1.5 upload to 1.9. So I don't even get like 2 megabits per second upload on this Uverse thing. And I heard that's normal for everything. But I am, I think this is a lot better video than the phone. At least I think it is. I'm not sure about the audio though. But I just wanted to come on and tell everybody I bring it, right? I bring it. Yeah, I bring it. Bring it. I bring it. So I bring the bedtime stories. I forgot to even write a name on this one. I've been messing around for like 3 hours trying to get a good stream. Oh man, trying to make it better because the dropouts and stuff like that, it was really, starting to get to me. I was getting kind of angry. And I'm not even sure if I'm even looking, let's see, at the live stream, but I should probably put it up there for the chat. Okay, so I have the live stream up, and we'll just see how it goes. Okay, now, since I was like doing the Native American stuff last night, and I related a little bit about the Bigfoot wars, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. I thought I'd talk, a long time ago, I met these medicine men and elders. And when I first started talking about Bigfoot to them, they just laughed at me and looked at me funny. They didn't really want to tell me about Bigfoot at all. But only and I didn't bring it up like every day either. Every so often, I would talk about Bigfoot and ask them questions, and they would give me that funny look, like, "Hey, they don't want to talk about it." And then one day, I was talking about tracking them, and I'm finding tracks, and they were starting to believe that I'm serious about it, because every few months I would bring it up, and I was bringing up the tracks, and that's when I got warned about not tracking them. That if you're tracking them and they're watching you, then they might think that you're tracking them to kill them or hurt them, or I don't know what else, but not good. I know that. And they even told me, like, my life would be in jeopardy if I kept doing that. And that's when I started pressing them, like, my life would be in jeopardy. Like, why would my life be in jeopardy? And then they told me, well, they're cannibals. They eat people. And I told him, wow, really? They're cannibals? These things eat people? Serious? And he was dead serious. They eat people. So he starts telling me about, like, a long time ago, and I don't know how long ago. I know the picture that I put up for the live stream, the thumbnail, that's the picture of the painting on the painted rock at the Thule Reservation, and me standing off to the side of it, looking at all the other paintings, because that's not the only painting on the rock. There's all these paintings of different animals. In fact, there's one on top that is a coyote eating the moon, but it looks like the coyote eating the UFO. That's what it looks like. So he starts telling me about this war that they had. And, I want to say he said something like 250 years ago or more. And he was just estimating. So a couple of 100 or 300 years ago, they had a war with them. And I'm thinking it was probably maybe a little bit further back than that, because they didn't have, like, it was before the white man and everything came along, and the Spaniards and everything started messing with them. So I mean, it was when they ruled the world, when they reigned in this area. They were the only people besides the giant people, the big hairy people, the ancient ones. I mean, that's the story I get. Like, they're the ancient ones. They've been here. They were here before they came here. So that means that those hairy, big, ancient people have been here a long, long time, long before they even took the land around here. And they told me that that these things would steal young women and babies, and they would take them off and eat them. And other things like with the young ladies, they did other things besides eat them sometimes. Like make them a wife, kind of like the story I talked about last night. Well, one day, what they would do is they would run through the camp, and they would take, they had been watching them, so they knew, which house or teepee or whatever they were living in, their lodge. They would run through, and they would just reach in and grab the baby or the young girl, and they would run off into the night. Well, one day they ran off with a real important baby, like the number one son of, I don't know if they called him the chief of the tribe, but maybe that's what the term is now, But it was the leader of the tribe. That was his number one son, number one baby, firstborn. And it ran off with them. And they immediately, in the morning, they immediately went to tracking this Bigfoot. And they tracked him. And they found him up in a tree eating the newborn. Or I guess it wasn't a newborn, but the firstborn. I don't know how old. I don't really know how old. All I know is they caught this thing eating that kid, the firstborn child, and they immediately started shooting it with arrows, and it got away. But they hurt it pretty bad, from what I understand. They did some damage to this thing. So that night, when they chased it as far as they could, but then that night they were back asleep again, and they got attacked by, I want to say more around 40 something Bigfoot. I don't know the exact numbers, but only he was saying, like 35 or 40 of these things came in, and they about killed everyone. From what he said, there was only like a couple of people in that little village that lived, and they ran away, and they ran to the next village. So when they relayed the story to the other village, that it got everybody mad, and they're like, man, they can't do that, So they rounded up as many warriors as they could from all around, and they went back to that village and buried the dead, and then they tracked these 40 Bigfoot, and they tracked them to, off to this cave, and then it started a war where it was back and forth, for a little while, and a lot of Indians died, and a lot of Bigfoot died, and finally it culminated to they finally tracked him to this cave, and it was in the daytime, and they were trying to get him out, so that they could shoot him, and they didn't want to go in the cave because might be not a good thing, run in the cave and then have these things, ripping you to pieces while you're in the cave. So what they did was they started a fire, a smoky fire, and they used stuff to like blow the smoke into the cave, and they got it all smoky in there, and then they got back, and they were ready, and as they came out, because they couldn't breathe, they were killing them with arrows. So they killed almost all of them. They said like only maybe a couple of them got away, and they got away with arrows in them. You know what I mean? It's like they weren't unscathed. You know what I mean? They got away, but they had arrows in them. And he said it was like a few days or a month or something like that. Everything was quiet, and all of a sudden, this during the day, a really big one and another one came and said they want to make peace. So they smoked the peace pipe, and they made an agreement that there would be certain areas where, like, the people could hunt, and then there were certain areas, and the Bigfoot would stay out of that area. And then there was areas that were designated for the Bigfoot to live and hunt, and they would, and the people would stay out of those areas. And from what I understand, even until today, those wishes are still respected. And I think that we accidentally, have stumbled into some areas that would be the areas where the Bigfoot stay at where they smoked the peace pipe, and they're still holding to those agreements with them. So I thought it was an interesting little thing, And if you watch Monsters and Mysteries, and you'll see Kathy Strain talk about that on Monsters and Mysteries, and I think it's called Bigfoot Wars, Evil Gnomes, and Hellhounds, But and it looks like I'm having trouble. I got a green light and everything. I knocked the bit rate way down, and everything, but I don't know why. I keep on having all these troubles with everything. Hopefully you guys aren't. I can't look at the chat. I for some reason I can't like run another. Like maybe you guys could copy the chat for me, or maybe one of them, one of you guys could like email me, and I can make you guys, a couple of you guys the moderator of the YouTube, and that way you could copy the chat, at the end, and then just paste it into a comment so that everybody can read it. I think it's kind of cool. Whoever brought that, I can't remember who it was that had me doing that, Arlo or one of you guys, But only I am working on getting better quality stuff. This camera is not going to be the one, It's just one I just found, and I mean, it's not like the greatest quality. When I look at it, it's like not the best, but it's better than my cell phone, and it's better than dropping the signal every single time, Like, I tried watching that one later, and I was having such a hard time, I was thinking maybe I could turn my phone on, but only I had to kick everybody off. I realized there's like, 3 cell phones going and a pad and 2 Rokus and then my computer, it's like the poor little ATT doesn't have that great of a thing. I think I'm at 25 megabits download and I don't care what package you buy, it's like only 1.5. But I'm going to talk to him, now that I realize all that and I did all this research today, I'm going to talk to him tomorrow. I'm going to call him before I go to the doctor and find out if there's an upgrade package or anything that I can do. If not, I'm going to switch over to Comcast and do it like that. I know it's a little bit more. I'm not, but only I know that the speeds are way better, And I think I'm paying like $96 a month. I probably could get a pretty good deal on Comcast because I've been with ATT for a long time, But only I'm really enjoying this, telling the stories and stuff like that. But I really want to get going and start being able to take calls and get everybody's stories, because I think that's the way to go. Uh, I have a whole bunch of stories, like I have UFO stories, and I have abduction stories, and I have hauntings, me and my wife, when we first got married, we lived in this little house in Fresno. It's called the Tower District, and that was like 1978. Okay, 1978, I'm pretty sure. And it was the first house we lived in an apartment for a little, a year or so, and then I made pretty good money as a union painter, so I rented this house, and even in 1978, this house was old, and it was kind of like a weird setup. It had the living room when you walk in, and then the dining room, and then there was a little door. It went into the kitchen, and off to the left was the bathroom, and then off to the right of the kitchen was the only bedroom, and then there was like a screened porch or enclosed porch on the back, and it had a back door, but then it also had like the door for the porch thing. And we moved in, and I think we only slept in the bedroom a week, maybe 1 week. There was this shadow thing in there, and it never really touched me, but it made its presence known, like I was uncomfortable and everything, but it really messed with my wife a lot, and she kept on waking me up, and I sometimes I would see it whenever I opened my eyes. So at the first, it was messing with her the most, and then it got to the point where when I was at work, she wouldn't even go in the kitchen. So like it was the doorway to the back of from that second part of the house. So she was fine inside the dining room and living room, but not, the bathroom. She would run and use the bathroom, but no baths, no anything, no washing dishes. She would wait till I got home to cook dinner. And pretty soon we had even brought the mattress of the bed. We didn't bring the whole bed, but just the mattress, and we threw it on the floor in the dining room. And we would stand it up, lean it up against the wall in the daytime, and that's where we stayed. Almost all the time, we stayed right there. And when I would get home from work, then it was bath time and cooking time and all that. And sometimes I would hang out in the backyard. I mean, it was a nice little house with all the old built-ins and all that stuff, and the old glass and doorknobs. I mean, I really liked the place, except for, that. And like I would wake up and hear something would wake me up talking in my ear, and it sounded like really deep voice, and I never made out what it was saying, but it scared me real good, And every once in a while I would wake up, and when I would open my eyes, and the glow from the street light would be coming through the window, and I could see the outline of this shadow thing on the wall. And so that, a little bit of that, we lived in the front part of the house. So, but I have a lot of stories like that. And I also think a lot of people, you guys have a lot of stories like that. I bet you that everybody has, a handful of stories, or they know of other stories that they talk to other people. If they don't have any, they've heard them from their family. And then I know there's some other people that have gifts, and kind of like my family, where we're kind of like sensitive, like empathic. Is that what you call it, empathic? So I want to hear that kind of stories, like empaths. And I know like some people's grandmas, are real, sensitive. And some of the stories of the grandmas and grandpas and stuff like that, that was passed down, things that, a lot of times you don't even realize that you have the same, like you're like the grandma would say she, could see things and feel things and know things, when you were growing up, but you never could. And then when you got older, all of a sudden, you could see things and feel things and know things. And I can't wait to hear those things. And I'm going to try to keep it real simple, a microphone, a better camera, better internet connection. Um, I'm going to have a sound mixer so that people can call in, and I'm trying to get all that stuff together right now. Like, I don't have all the money, but only you guys have been really generous, really generous. I mean, I sit there and cry when I look. You guys make me cry. I mean, you guys really touch me. I can't believe how generous everyone is. I mean, it's not enough to go, but only I can add some to it when I get paid, and little bit by little bit, I'll be adding these things, okay? And we'll put this together, and we'll grow this channel, your guys' channel. It's your channel. I still haven't changed the name to it. We'll figure something out. Maybe it could be Night Moves or something like that. And like the bedtime stories, like I'm gonna bring. I've been kind of outlining what I want to do with this, and I think the bedtime stories should be a regular thing. Okay, not all the time, every day, but only. I think we should do the bedtime stories like at least a couple of times a week. You know what and then I was trying to think of the time change. Like over here, like what time is it? It's 10:45, something like that. I can't see it without my glasses, but and I know I have them, but I'm not going to put them on. So I know on the East Coast it's like 1, right, you guys? It's 1 or 2, something like that. I mean, it's getting on late over there. So we have to come to a thing with this. Like if I do it at 9 o'clock here, that's midnight over there, and so I'm thinking like 8 o'clock here. That puts it around 11 o'clock there. I hate to make you guys stay up that late though, and I want to do that live. I think I'll always do the bedtime stories, and that'll always be a live thing. And then I want to come up with another one, like and do a live. I like to do live as much as possible because the chat thing is so cool. But at the same time, I am going to bring you guys content, recorded content, and I'm not going to do a lot of heavy editing or anything like that. And I am practicing on the flute. Tony Spirit Feather, thank you for the flute. And I've been practicing and practicing. I'm having a hard time with it though, man. Like it's 5 holes, and you have, like, you can't open up a hole near you. You have to open them up in a line and then back down in a line. You can't open one up on this side and one up on that side, because this one, the closest one to you is actually the sound, so it doesn't do anything to open the other ones under it. I mean, it's really a challenge to make yourself do that, and that you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, but believe me, I'm trying to learn, and it's fun, and I want to do my own music for the show, going in and coming out of the show, of the edited ones. And I think I could do something for the live one. I'm playing around, like I had to do a codec. When you run a camera that's like with this, my phone, you just hit go live and bam, I put on this stick and you just go. But when you hook something straight up, like in a lot, online, plugged in, you have to have a codec and you have to have software and all this stuff. So I had to find the software and then configure the software. But then at the same time, I started figuring out I could put pictures up, I could do all this other stuff that, I didn't think I was going to be able to do. So with camera hooked up, I could go live with this thing. Like if I wanted to, if I had it set up, I could actually show some pictures and stuff. And I'm planning on doing that, like instead of just looking at me when I'm talking, every once in a while I'll put a picture up of something spooky, like if I'm talking about Shadow Man or Bigfoot, I'll put up some kind of spooky thing, But yeah, so like I'm enjoying this and everything. Maybe I should just look at my phone and see. I'm on a different YouTube. I made an account just for trying it, so I don't know if I can do it. I was gonna, because I can't see the chat at all right now. But, I was seeing it. With the phone. At least I would see it go across the phone, but the way I'm doing it now, I can't see it. I'm going to see if I can look at some of it right now here. I'm going to see if I'd like to see Alan do interviews and report on his own investigations. I wouldn't mind him reading emails from people that, oh yeah, that's a good idea too. Like, if you don't want to be on and you just want to tell your story, and I could read the emails, and I could put a picture of whatever it is, or I could have like a campfire, or I could have like look like a live campfire, crackling and stuff while I live campfire, crackling and stuff while I live campfire. Let's see. Oh wait, I'm making a move. You guys are so cool. I mean, come on. How could I get better friends in my whole life? How could I get better friends? So you're empath clairvoyant. See, yeah, you're empath clairvoyant. See, yeah, you're empath clairvoyant. Okay, I'm gonna leave this chat up because I'll copy it tonight, and then any of you guys that want to be, like maybe a moderator or something like that, just in case nasty people come on and you can ban them and stuff like that, because I can't watch the chat like I want to, because I know you guys will be putting stuff up there and stuff like that. And actually tonight I'm doing pretty good, health wise. I've been doing pretty good, guys. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. They're gonna check my ears again this year, that has the Meniere's disease, and then of course the RSD leg, and then I have an osteoma right now. They found, when they were checking my ears, they found I have a bone growth inside a tumor. They call it an osteoma. It's inside here, and I guess it's like millimeter from my, like really close to my brain, and it's really close to my eye, and that's what's causing headaches. And I thought it was high blood pressure. I thought I was having high blood pressure, and it's giving me like a stabbing feeling right there. Well, there's something there, right there. I asked him if they were going to take it out. He said no, because he would have to cut like from here around like this, and pull the skin down, cut that open, the skull, and then it was so close to the brain and the eye that he was afraid that that if he nicked any of it, it would be worse than anything that with it staying there. And yeah, I mean, just the explanation of it scared me. Okay, he said, well, until you can't handle it anymore, when you just can't handle it, like if it starts affecting my vision, or it starts starts like doing something to my brain, and they'll check it like every 6 or 8 months. And he said usually they grow really, really slow. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Okay, but yeah. So far I'm doing all right, except for getting old. Don't you guys hate getting old? I hate getting old. Don't you guys hate getting old? I hate getting old. It says you need to mute the phone. It's feeding back. You need to mute the phone. It's really the phone is. I don't have anything going, guys. There's nothing. I don't have anything going, guys. There's nothing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the. Did that do a difference? Huh? Did that do a difference? Is that better? Huh? It might be this. I might have. It might be this. I might have. I might have it. It might be this. I might have. I might have it. I might have it. I might have. This thing configured wrong. This thing configured wrong. This thing configured. Okay, how's that? Okay, did some adjustments, and now there's only one microphone. There's no audio. There's no audio. Okay, that's it. That was it. What it did is it has this thing that mirrors. It mirrors, and it's like new software. I never saw it before in my life. It is so complicated. I mean, it's more complicated than some of that stuff Jeff uses, because you have to put the bit rate and the frames per second and all this stuff, and put it in there, and then the camera has to match. So you have to know what the bit rate of the camera is. You have to know what your bit rate on your router is. All this stuff, and then there's only one microphone, but only it can mirror. It has like multiple settings, and I'm sitting here watching all these things move, and I'm like, what in the world is, it says desktop. I don't have a desktop mic. I only have one microphone that I know of hooked up. I mean, gee. Yeah, so, yeah, but only how long did you have to hear that? Like the whole thing? Oh, gee. That makes me feel like a dummy. But actually, I almost didn't even go on. I thought, I got it, like when I've actually been trying it on another YouTube channel for 3.5 hours, okay? And I couldn't get it to, like right now, it's staying on total green, like it has a little green light that says I'm golden, you know what I mean? But only it wasn't doing that earlier. It was going green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, and every time it went yellow and red, then all of a sudden everything started spinning on my, and I thought, man, I don't want to go live with another messed up video. I just didn't want to do it. And then finally I set everything to the lowest setting that I think it's the lowest. I think it's the lowest setting, and thought, okay, I'm going to go on and just say hi to everybody, talk a little bit about that Bigfoot war, thank everybody again for helping me out. You guys are really great. I have to be honest with you. I'm on Social Security, and I don't even make $1,000 a month income. And I was starting to make a little bit of money on YouTube, but when Jeff told me I had to take all the shows off, that went down like really, really fast. So, so really I don't have nothing, barely nothing. I really, and I don't like asking people. I'm usually the guy that will go hustle and do something and, make my own way and stuff like that. I mean, you just don't raise 6 kids and your sister's kids and stuff like that. They're going to get mad at me because I say that, but a lot of the time that I was raising my kids, I was raising my sisters' They lived too, and my sister's kids. So, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You know, they were having a rough life. A lot of them didn't have a dad or anything. So I feel good that I could do that. Only, you have to have something inside of you that says, you're gonna get after it, and you'll do whatever it takes to feed everyone and make sure that they have warm clothes and shoes and a roof over their head, and like that's my word. This shirt, you know, I bring it, right? I bring it. I'm the guy. I bring it. Uh-huh. Can you smell what the Rock has cooking? Yeah, I bring it. But yeah, that's my shirt for that. But yeah. Oh gosh. Craziness, huh? Okay, wait a minute. I see you guys are, you're gonna slap me. No, you're gonna slap me? Ah, psh, psh. Okay. Yeah, I had somebody send me an email and they're like, "Man, you really talk shit, dude." Now I'm gonna get censored for that, but he's like, "Yeah, you really do." Like he didn't. It's like a bad thing to him, but I don't know. There's a whole bunch of YouTubes out there that I think they're talking more poo than I am. I mean, like everybody's trying to be like right now. Everybody's trying to be the guy that figures out the shooting in Las Vegas. I mean, oh come on, how many? You know what? There's so much crap. If the truth came out, we wouldn't even know what it is. You know what I mean? The news lies to you, and everybody's putting out their scenario and everything. Like, how in the world do you know what the truth is? And I bet the government loves that. I absolutely believe that. I think that they love all this disinformation and everything coming out, and they can throw the truth can be all interwoven in there, and we'll never know. You know what I mean? And gee, you guys know what I'm saying. Yeah. Is the what? Is Yeah, the super chat button. Now on the super chat, I researched that a little bit too. The super chat gets paid with the regular uh, AdSense YouTube thing, and so here's like okay, like I feel so bad about the donations. I mean, I don't want to steal everybody's blessing though, because I know for my own self, a little voice inside of you says, hey, do this, and when you sometimes like you can't avoid that little voice, you know what I mean? Like it'll bug you until you do it, and you feel good afterwards. It's like, wow, that feels really good, that I helped somebody. And I mean, I love helping people, so I understand about that. But like my I Bring It shirt, I know it's The Rock. Hey, that's his shirt. I can't steal it. But only I have some other ideas. I mean, I have some other ideas to where I can sell some stuff, you know. And all I need is an artist. I have some family that are artists. And I've tried nailing down 2 or 3 already. Only everybody's too busy to do my ideas, and I don't want to say what they are in public, like out, because they're pretty good, and somebody's gonna hear that and go, oh, that's a good idea, and then they'll go make it before I do, but I've had that happen to me a bunch of times where I talk about stuff, and then, later on, not long later on, I start seeing those things, it's like, man, if I could do worm, somebody suggested I do the little worm thing. I thought about doing that. I killed, and this is not brag, this is fact, okay? I'm not bragging, all fact. I killed millions of worms. I mean millions. I killed so many worms, man, it's a shame. You know what I mean? Wow, man, I killed some worms. But only then I learned how to grow worms on a large scale, real large. or a small scale, it doesn't matter. But I know how to keep the worms alive now, and I know what to feed them, and I know how to do it, and I know how to get the poops out just the right way. And I used to sell them like crazy, you know. It was the good shit. But if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, it's pretty amazing, you know. But hey, I know, like you guys. I know you guys would love some of the ideas I have. I mean, I have some cool Bigfoot idea shirts, and then I could, you know, incorporate aliens and ghosts into it too, and I can make some coffee mugs and shirts and different things. When I worked at the casino, that as marketing director, that was my job, was the merchandising and coming up with posters. I would create my own posters and stuff, but it was all cut and paste. And if I needed an artist, you know, casinos are deep pockets, so I could go hire the best artist and graphics designer, you know, and get it all done. But yeah, yeah, only a little small, just a little bit of poops goes a long ways. Yeah. So, you know, I actually could tell you, you know, the best thing to feed worms is horse manure. So if any of you guys have horses, just throw old carpet on, like pile up some, you know, make it like about 4, 6 inches deep, the manure, and then throw an old carpet over it and just keep it damp, right? And it doesn't matter if it snows on or anything, because the worms will go down and they'll get away from the snow. And every couple of weeks, pull that carpet back in the day time and slowly, so you don't rip them in half and stuff, and put, you know, another pile of horse manure on there, and you could throw all your like cereal, like if your grandkids or kids don't eat all their oatmeal and anything like that, you could throw that in there. Any old fruit, that bananas, apples, anything that, you know, that goes bad in your house, vegetables, stuff like that, throw that in there. They don't like lemons and oranges too much, but they will eat it. You know, if you put it in there and it starts breaking down, they will eat it. But don't mess with them very much. You know what I mean? As least as possible. Don't try to go out there and count them or anything. That's actually the secret. Don't overfeed them. Don't overwater them, and don't mess with them. And then once you have a nice stack of manure, worm castings, take 1/8 inch hardware cloth, and then you've seen those things that archaeologists use where they shake. You know, they throw a shovelful and they shake. I know it takes a long time, but if you're just doing it for your own use and maybe your neighbors and stuff like that, that's all you need. Hang it from a branch or a swing set, or make a little A-frame thing and just shake that out. Everything that doesn't fall through the screen, put it back in the pile and let them eat it some more until it goes through the screen. Everything that comes out of that screen will look like coffee grounds. It'll smell like fresh dirt, even though there's no dirt in it. And that stuff right there, black gold. I mean, it'll use it like 3 parts soil to 1 part castings, and you'll have the most amazing roses, tomatoes. I mean, whatever you put it on, it'll be just fabulous. You can even put it on trees. You know, like rake it in, like put it around the base of the tree, and then rake it into the dirt, and just let it rain and water it in and let it soak in. Because sometimes there's little worms in the castings, and they'll hatch, and they'll eat bugs and dead leaves and all that stuff, that debris. And if you think there's not enough for them to eat around the tree, then just throw coffee grounds down there. You can put coffee grounds. You could even put the coffee, what do they call it, the filter paper. You could even put that in there. And you can even put like hay or something around the tree to hold the moisture. It's actually good in a drought anyways. And they'll eat that hay on the bottom and stuff. But what they'll do for your tree is they'll make little tunnels all around looking for food and dead things in the dirt, and it just passes right through them. You know what I mean? The dirt just, they eat their way through, but they leave these little tunnels, and the tunnels actually let the root systems of the plants get oxygen, and it also holds the water longer. The castings soaks it up like a sponge and holds the water longer. And all those little holes, that it lets the water get into the roots better. So it's like nature. It's just nature, you know. They've been doing it for 1,000,000 years. The plants know exactly what those little poops are, and they can get into them and go right for it and become like it's like steroids for plants. I mean, I never seen anything like it before. And actually, like, say that you don't want to, you don't use the castings. Say you would just want to store them in like 5-gallon buckets or something. It can dry out. So can the actual little worm eggs, and the worm eggs will have like 5 to 11 little worms in them, and they have red blood. Did you know that worms have red blood and 10 hearts? There's one myth. There's one myth that everybody thinks that a worm can do, and it can't do that. And I bet you all know what it is. Like, you can't rip a worm in half and then you'll have 2 worms. No, it's more like a lizard thing. You pull the back half. If you don't take that little band, if you don't break the little band, what they call the clitellum, the worm can possibly grow back the back half, but the other half's dead. But the other worms, as that dries out and crumbles, the other worms will eat that. It's protein, solid protein. But just some interesting little things about worms, right? I know it's not a scary thing. I know a lot of people don't like to touch them. Women don't like to touch them. So for the women that want to grow worms and they don't want to touch them, and they can get their husband to do all the touching and dirty work and everything, get a paint strainer and put 2 or 3 cups of worm castings in it, and get a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water, and then make a tea. You know what I mean? And every couple days go out and stir it around and work it up a little bit and strain out the castings into that, and then water your plants with it. And then you won't be touching the worms. It's, you know, and you can have little, you know, gloves on and stuff anyways, little latex gloves like the doctors wear, you know, and you won't get none of it on you, and your plants will love it, absolutely love it. And you could sell that, but believe it or not, you can sell that for $10 a gallon, like a milk jug gallon. So if you have a 5-gallon bucket that you make, that's $50. I just gave you a clue on how to make money. I would be doing it, but I have to grow the worms to get to do that, and I physically can't do it. You know, if I had all the castings sitting around here, I could make the liquid, but I don't have the cast. I would have to, you know, go through all the process to get the castings and then turn it into the tea. Otherwise, I would be doing it, and I did. I made a lot of money off of worm poop. It's a shitty job, but somebody has to do it. Okay, you guys, I really got to go too. It's like 11:11. What a perfect time to go, huh? 11:11. I saw somebody post the other night. It was like 11:11, and the show was 11:11. I thought, man, how cool. And I look down, and it's 11:11. It's time to go. I hope you guys all have really sweet dreams. I really enjoy this. You know, I might come on 2 or 3 times more this week. You know, I have some ideas. Hopefully, every time I come on, it gets a little bit better. Like I haven't seen my little green button turn red or yellow here for the whole time, so I must be doing something right this time. And I hope you're not getting a lot of, you know, that. What is it where it sits there and, you know, spins? I hope you didn't get a lot of that tonight. I hope you heard me after I fixed the audio. I'll remember that. Okay. Yeah. I'm not. It won't echo ever again. It won't echo ever again. I promise. Because I bring it. I bring no echoes the next time. You guys are really great. Um, I wish I could like interact with the chat and stuff. Maybe I'll put it on this monitor I have right here. You know, just so I can sit and look like that and see the chat running right there. I think I could do that. Well, anyways, you guys have a really good evening. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. You guys don't know how much I love you. I love you, man. Absolutely, from the bottom of my heart, love you. And you have a very, very, very good night.